Hello.
Hi, Kim. How are you?
Hi. How are you, Shannon? We're kind of in the same, I don't even know what you call it, like up and down, right? So I am in Mexico right now, and you're in Canada. So you're straight north of where I am, but I think we might be about an hour apart in time.
Yep.
Does that sound right?
Yep, you are correct. We're about an hour apart. I think you said you were 5 and I'm 6, I'm 7 now.
Yeah. So I guess welcome everybody to Pure 30. This is our kickoff, and we have a lot of exciting things planned over the next 30 days. And from what I am hearing, and you're a club owner, so you can tell me, everyone's quite excited about our program.
Yeah. They really want to know all of the ins and outs on how to biohack their lives.
Yeah. You know, I think when it comes to things like biohacking, there's so much information, and sometimes you could feel like you need to try and do everything at once. And it's very difficult to do everything at once, because really you need to know what they're actually doing to you. So you need to kind of go one step at a time to actually feel the impact of that. It's not a perfect recipe for anyone. And we're all at different ages and stages in our life. You're quite a bit younger than me, at least I feel that way. And I am going through menopause. I think actually what my doctor said is I've been through menopause. I don't think I'm in it anymore. I'm kind of on the other side of it. So it's quite a roller coaster hormonally. And, things just don't always work exactly the same for everybody at different times in their lives. And so I think going a little bit at a time is always a good recipe, so that you can see what really works for you and the benefits you get from it.
Well, although you say I'm younger, I do think I'm experiencing or had been experiencing perimenopause myself. Yeah. And I seem to have, it's completely like, my hormones are actually back to normal. I spent a lot of time on balancing, obviously, work-life balance, nutrition, and just some me time, right? And getting outdoors. Mm-hmm. Like, I can't even explain how just getting outdoors just resets your nervous system alone, So, it made a huge difference in my life last year, along with actually back when we started Pure 30 last year. I
know you kind of went off the map. You went off radar for a while.
I did. Yeah. I went out west for a little bit to kind of do like a nervous system reset as well. I think it helped a ton. And came home and just really went at taking care of my nutrition and my hormones and getting my water, my protein, getting everything on track again, because I very much was going through, it could have been mood, it could have been inflammation spikes in different ways going through my body, like fatigue. I would actually want to fall asleep every afternoon for a while until things kind of got to normal. So I understand completely.
Yeah. Well, hormones are interesting because I guess maybe I could go down this rabbit hole for a while. So maybe we should just, first, let me just say, welcome everybody. I'm Kim McQueen, and I'm the president and CEO of Curves North America, Australia, and New Zealand. And I am lucky to have Shannon from Kingston, Ontario. Shannon Hogan is owner of a Curves in Kingston, Ontario. She's also a registered holistic nutritionist. So I'm so glad to have you co-hosting this with me again, Shannon. We do not meet constantly throughout this month, so I am as excited to see your videos as I hope you're excited to see mine. And I love that, you give so much great information from a real nutritionist point of view. I can't say that I'm quite as good at that. If I have to sit and write everything down and talk about it that way, it's easier than when I'm just live doing a recipe. So I love watching your recipes and all the extra information you give. So a big shout out to Shannon for doing all that, because it's really great. And so, this year we upped the ante a little bit, and we decided to do Buddha bowls, because they're kind of fun to build and women are on the go. And you can kind of put things together ahead of time to make, preparing meals easier. But also, we're really talking about protein in the next 30 days, because it's one of the big elements that I think can be challenging in women's nutrition.
I agree. I mean, a lot of women will take protein on, oh, well, I had some at dinner, and they think that that's enough without even
Yeah.
tracking, right? So I really think I love the journal you came up with this season for Pure
Yeah, some
30.
changes.
Yes, I think that'll help a ton to kind of hone in on some focus for the Curves members out there to stay on track. I think it's important for tracking, as we know, tracking and journaling. It's kind of like a manifestation. It makes you take action or keep ahead of schedule on things, or basically planning your week out, right? So it gets you thinking in the right direction.
It does. And, the thing is, in the journal, because we have some changes from last year's journal pages, which I don't think a lot of people really downloaded. But if you're one in the group from last year and you did download the pages, please let us know. But yeah, the printing the journals ahead of time, I think, will make it easier for everyone to track what they're doing. But in reality, as much as we want everyone to do this 30 days with us, even if you have to start a week late, this is really a journal for you. And it's meant to be your work, your reflection, almost like a personal diary. But one of the things I guess I could point out here that I think, one, we have the protein tracking, which is here, of course, and that'll give you a better idea if you've achieved your protein. But the one thing I guess I want to sort of draw everyone's attention to, particularly as we start things, is my mood today. And my mood today is really about how you wake up and how you feel. So, for example, I'm here in Mexico. I'm actually in Tulum, Mexico right now. And I have a girlfriend that works very hard at keeping sugar down because she had a lot of hidden sugar. And we were out the other day and she had like a juice spritzer, but it was fresh. It was a fresh passion fruit juice. But I did see the guy add some extra syrup to her drink. And the next morning, she didn't feel so great. And I said, that's very interesting because you don't normally have drinks like that. And there was no alcohol or anything in it, but it just was not the normal kind of drink she would have. And it made her not feel so great in the morning. So I think everyone should be sort of dial into themselves a little bit and say, how do I feel this morning when I woke up? Do I feel like I slept well? And I don't know about you, but I do use several sleep apps to track a variety of things. And, some are for going to sleep, some are for knowing what's happening while I'm sleeping. And so I think that's one of the things that happens with hormonal changes is sleeping. And I know you and I talked a little bit about that.
Yeah. So you use some apps, and I've found a couple of other great things that have helped me. I make sure I take magnesium at night for sure. At least 400 milligrams before going to bed. And I also take ashwagandha. So it's been a great tool because although I was taking the magnesium and it was helping me relax at night, I'd still wake up at 3 a.m. So ashwagandha has been a great tool in the tool belt per se of just getting that extra sleep, especially for us working women who might have a little more high cortisol and stress before we go to bed to kick up the day the next day, right? So,
I think the other thing, just so maybe you could explain, so ashwagandha is an adaptogen, which means, you'll probably do a better job, explaining, but basically it's going to sort of adapt to what you need. That's why it's an adaptogen. And so I think I might try that.
It works really well. And I know there's a difference between making sure you source the root between the leaf, I believe. I think you want the root, but I'd have to double check that. So it's a certain label on the bottle that will tell you otherwise, but you want the root, I believe. So,
you gave, I don't want to give away your videos because you have a really, really great video coming up this week that everybody's going to get to see. So I won't give it away, but it is about water. And so everybody, please watch this. There's some really great tips that Shannon gives about water and enhancing your water. And it was really, really great. And it kind of sort of reminded me of another little recipe that is in Bali. And so I'm going to dig that one out in probably about 2 weeks when I am in Bali and show everybody that one. But your water recipe is fantastic. But what it made me think about is the importance of cellular hydration while you sleep. So even a little bit of warm water and salt can be really great to help you sleep better, because it can hydrate your cells while you're sleeping. So when you take your two, magnesium glycinates, and your ashwagandha, you could maybe wash it down with a little bit, a pinch of salt water in some water, and help to hydrate your cells while you sleep.
Yep, I agree with that. I also, sodium, there's a difference between sodium and then getting really good healthy salts too, right? So
yes,
they're sourced. So I mean, people are afraid of salt, and in the table salt sense, yes, you should be, but you should also be not so scared of your sea salts, Celtic salts, and Himalayan salts. And I think people need to recognize the importance of that, because just by going to your workout, you do your workout and you might feel fatigue after or dizzy. And it's literally just about the electrolytes that you didn't receive. You sweat them all out, and you got to replenish them. And just drinking clean, pure water sometimes isn't enough. You need to add those electrolytes of salt in there. So,
and salt is so critical. I mean, I pick up salt all over the place. So in some of my recipes this week, for all the folks out there that can get to a TJ Maxx or a TK Maxx, depending where you are in the world, there's so many great things in their little gourmet section. You never know what you're going to find in there. And salts are very, very important. And I grew up on a farm. Cows have to have salt licks or they will die. I mean, we are really no different. We do need salt to survive. It's really essential, but it's about all the minerals. And so, different salts provide different things. So I think it's great to experiment with different salts. You get different benefits from different salts, from different, whether it's a river or an ocean or it's a mountain, you're going to get different minerals.
That's right. I usually work with Celtic salt here, or I've had Himalayan, and I have all three. I have sea salt here too. So I like the mixture of using them for different things as well.
Well, I'll tell you what you did. First of all, I just love it. And I have to ask you, okay, because I feel like everyone's going to ask you this when they see your video. So this is a little bit of a giveaway, but maybe this is about watching us talk too. So you're going to know if you watch us talk. You did something I did when I went to upstate New York when my daughter was, I think she was 12, and she went to a summer camp. And so we were up in upstate New York, and I guess what they call the Poconos or the Catskills or what have you. It was so, so beautiful. So not probably that far from you, and probably not that different from the environment you're in Canada, but all kinds of natural springs throughout upstate New York. And we were sort of on the hunt for that. And we had the empty jugs in the back of the car. And my husband was really keen on finding as many as possible so we could drink this water. But I got a little nervous, like, should I be nervous? Like, where is it coming from exactly? So you're so brave to do that. So maybe tell us why you think it's perfectly fine to find these natural springs and just drink from them. I mean, I know there's benefits, but like, how do you sort of clear that concern you might have? And
well, I mean, when I was up there, for example, I should have interviewed. I saw 3 elderly couple come through, and I had conversations with them. And there's a lot of people up there that don't have wells. This is a source for like the community there. And sometimes there's a lineup down the road. They've been drinking it for 20 years and they're still alive and healthy. Like these are, I'm talking very senior people coming and loading up water. Like, I mean, it's super healthy. There's nothing wrong with it. It comes from the earth. It's just pushed up through the earth naturally. It's not running down a stream or anything. It's actually coming up through the earth, right? So that's the difference. It's gone through the filtration system, and it has been sourced there for a long time. And if you just talk to the locals, you can usually find out a lot of information about it as well. But yeah, it's so good for you. It's got the minerals of the land right there that you should be absorbing in your body anyway, just like you should source your salt close by, right? So it's all the same.
Well, I mean, the thing is, I grew up on a farm. We have our own well, and our well is 374 feet deep. We're over a natural aquifer. And so, I could go on and on about this because my mother was so passionate about the fact that we had our own water. And there's no question when I go back to my parents' house, my dad's still living there, my mom has passed, but there is something that happens when I shower there. There's something different about my hair, my skin. It's just, I feel like it just, and it could be assimilation, you know, wherever you were sort of born on the planet is sort of where you sort of have your, I guess, initial microbiome roots. I'm not exactly sure, but there's something magical that definitely happens that I notice now being gone for so many years. So I guess I'm not afraid, but I sort of am because I just don't know, like, where is this coming from? How deep down is it, you know? But I guess if you have other people in front of you that have been doing this for, 20 years, and this is where they get their water, you can kind of be rest assured you found a pretty good spring. And so when you go out and do this, how many springs are in and around you in Canada?
I know there's lots, but where I am specifically, they're a little further away. But just talking to the locals up there, they actually pointed me in a direction to one closer to me that I didn't even know about. And there's an actual website that shows springs in your area, or you could look all across Ontario or across Canada. I'm sure you can look in the States too, but you can just go to these places of water. Like I know there's one just outside of the city of Belleville. And I went to that one. It's just off the highway in a parking lot, and people go there to get water too. There's one, I think 20 minutes from me in Verona, I think it was mentioned. And it's right behind a convenience store. They just have it like set up in this kind of shed facility so people can go in there and get water. I didn't know about that one. That was the one I learned about. But there's plenty. Like driving up north, when I've been up north, there's a lot of them up on the highways as well to stop into.
When we went looking, we did get on one of those maps, and so I'm going to find that link because it's something like, I don't know, it's something naturalsprings.com or something, or
yeah,
it's something like that, and they are marked. And then I remember, because this is probably at least 15 or maybe before, and people commented on the quality of that particular spring. Like, do you see something like that where people are, it's sort of like Traveloka or TripAdvisor for
pretty much, yeah, same thing. There's a little commentary at the bottom. Yes.
Yeah.
The only commentary to that one was that it dries up, I guess, in the drought season. So they know to stock up before then.
Yeah. Well, I thought it was great you did that because I don't think a lot of people really know about that. I mean, if you do, please comment below our chat here because, I think it's just interesting. And, from that point, when you go into new areas, and like I said, I grew up in a very rural farming community. And when we were back there, many times when we were back there when the kids were little, we were looking for organic vegetables that we could buy that were coming out of, people's own gardens. And so, we got online and we looked for things, and my mom said to me at the time, "You're not going to find any of that here." But we absolutely did. We found everything. People are online, communicating and selling all kinds of natural things and or things that are very specific to the local area that people like a natural spring. Like, it's just amazing to me. And so here in Mexico, like, for example, I wanted to get some fermented foods for some of my bowls. And turns out there's someone up the road making all kinds of fabulous fermented recipes. I'm like, oh, that's perfect. Because, I'm not quite brave enough. I've tried, by the way, several times to ferment my own things. And I know there's simple ways to do stuff, but I always get a bit nervous when I try the more complicated sauerkrauts that maybe I didn't make it quite right. I like our pickle recipe. That's very easy. Like the easy ones I can kind of go for, but there's so many people out there doing things that you can get online and you can find someone making a fabulous sourdough starter or making fermented foods, a variety of recipes of fermented foods, or some raw honey. I don't know how many, because you're in Canada, but like right there in the northeast part of the United States, large Amish communities that we went through with just amazing things, amazing seasonings and spices and honeys and just all this great stuff. And so I think, now that we're getting into warmer months in North America, if you can get out there and you can find some amazing things, please share that with us. I want to be inspired too. I just loved your video. So I think that was really great.
I just came to me like, oh, maybe, we're going to talk hydration. We might as well learn about this kind of water too. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, you really need to think about where you're sourcing your water. I mean, even city water, it's got the contaminants, it's got the things in it that are not good for your body, and it can spike estrogen in women. And I don't know how many people are aware of that. So, I mean, definitely find ways to purify your water, especially if you're sourcing it from the city. So.
Well, my small farming community had a real problem many years ago now. It was in the early 90s. But that is when the early sort of, the early stages of, I guess, towns finding out how damaging the chemical runoff was from agriculture. And our city well was not that deep. And it was absolutely loaded with contaminants. And I almost feel like we could have been a 60-minute special. Many people got very sick, and I mean serious kind of sick, like very serious sick. And they didn't know what to do about it. And eventually we had to pipe our water in, which is amazing to me because my little town is actually over an aquifer. But our farm well is very, very, very deep. And digging wells is expensive. It's very expensive to dig a well. And so our well is 374 feet deep, but you can go on state maps and you can see the wells and you can see the depth of the wells. So I looked up our whole area, and the deepest well is 1,100 feet deep. So that's very, very deep. But when you dig wells like this that are that deep, it's extremely expensive. Every foot you go down further, it costs more money. So if you do have a great source of well water that is coming from an aquifer that does go through many, many layers before it comes up, it's great. But you're right. Everyone should know their source of their water. So I have our home in Bali, and I purify our water, and then I remineralize the water. And I think that's really key because you can purify water, but then you can strip it of everything. And that doesn't do any good. You really need, so I have a very basic kind of system that has a whole bunch of rocks in the bottom. So after it filters, it goes through a bunch of rocks to remineralize. And so if y'all are using water systems out there, please share what you're doing, because there's so many great ones. There's some very expensive ones, of course, but there's some really great ones. And if you're doing what Shannon's doing, collecting artisanal water from deep in the earth, do tell us about that, because water is essential, and clean water, mineralized water, we absolutely need it. And when you think about showering and your hair and taking baths and our skin being our largest organ, we really are hydrating the minute we take a shower. And we do really, and I think this is part of like the experience I have when I go home, is I feel different after I shower there.
Yeah, there's a difference between showering in a city and in the country. One's harder water than the other, I'm certain. Yeah. And what it does to your hair, it changes completely. I get that.
Yeah, it's amazing. So, okay, so we're on to Buddha Bowls this week. And I threw in a few prepping hacks. And I have to say, not that I'd ever done them before. So, for everybody out there, I can't speak for Shannon, but I can speak for me. I am a very experimental chef at home. I love cooking, and I love cooking clean. And so my entire kitchen changed in 2013. No gluten, no dairy, and no soy for a long time. But everything went very, very natural, organic, clean cooking. But prepping hacks, I haven't done a ton of. So I was super excited by putting a superfood station together. And I have to say, I love it. I can't imagine not having this in my pantry now. So no one knows what I'm talking about because that video isn't out yet. But, I think prep is super important to the bowls.
In which way?
Well, just getting everything prepped like on Sunday.
Yes. Okay. Definitely. Yes. Get all of your pick your protein for the next 4 days, right? And do a lot of it. Yeah, I agree. I always have protein, carb, at least like it could be a rice or sweet potato, or could be just ground beef. It could be even ground turkey or chicken sometimes. I'll just have on hand ready for the days that I don't have time. And then the other days I'll just have like the chicken breast or turkey breast or whatever in the fridge ready to cook that day, depending on what I feel like. So I totally agree, because then you can't make the mistake of snacking on something that you shouldn't when you have the food readily available in your fridge. So it makes a huge difference.
Well, I think it takes the mystery out of doing things, right? It's right there in front of you. Okay, here's this, here's this, here's this. And I think if you have that kind of sort of thought process already happening, it's kind of like the curves workout. You just go in and get on, right? And so you don't have to think too much. You just have a system, but I think, I don't, like I said, I don't want to give too many things away, but maybe it's enough to make sure people pay really close attention. What you said about skin on vegetables, perhaps skin on fruit too, I thought was really interesting. And maybe you want to mention a little bit about how important the skin is to our fruits and vegetables.
Yeah, one of the biggest lessons I learned in the basics of my nutrition back then was don't peel your vegetables. All of your nutrients are found just under the skin, plus your skin's the fiber too. So you get a two-in-one deal there. When you take that off, you're actually stripping majority of the nutrients and you're taking away the fiber. So you want to actually keep those involved in your cooking when you and eating when you have it. So I just
think that's so important. I mean, first of all, growing up in the United States, I really did not know how many different potatoes there are. And, my husband's British and, wow, there's a lot of potatoes actually. And I like potato with the skin on. I like to eat the skin, and I like potatoes with skin on, even if it's mashed. I actually like the skin. But he doesn't like that at all. So he's like, take off all the skin, which is interesting to me. So I guess it's an acquired taste, right? You kind of have to get used to it. And I think you have to maybe tell yourself that it's good for you.
Yeah. And, I even find some women shy away from carbohydrates like potatoes altogether, and they shouldn't. I mean, they're also a good source of potassium as well. Don't shy away from your potatoes, sweet potatoes, your regular potatoes. It's all about the portion control, right? So I notice like a lot of people will have low energy because they'll just eat meat and a salad. And it's like, well, don't just eat a salad. You can have the rice and potatoes and sweet potatoes too. And I mean, those Buddha bowls, the size of them and how much you can eat and you still lose weight is pretty phenomenal to me. Like, yeah, women need to realize that eating is actually how you're going to lose weight, not starving yourself. So, yeah.
I think I lived in China for 8.5 years. And, the way Chinese people eat is not the way we know Chinese food at all. Right. It's completely different, which is interesting. It's sort of like if American food, which it does, shows up somewhere else. It's your hamburgers, your hot dogs, it's fried chicken. It's all the things that, well, that's not exactly how we eat, So it's sort of the same way for Chinese food. And one of the things I noticed there is that it does start with vegetables, and it will start with even some seafood in the vegetables. And then, of course, they have sesame oils, and they have different types of fats that they use to what we use as far as oils go. But then they have, well, first of all, just a lot of vegetables, a lot of vegetables. And then when we get to proteins, it's not a huge amount, but it's very specific. And then all the starches at the end. And it's basically like, well, if you're still hungry, here's some rice. If you're still hungry, and the other thing they do, which is really interesting, and I'm sure you're going to have something to say about this. I mean, we do not rehearse our discussions at all. But one of the dishes that I ate in China, which I really, really liked, was raw potato. They make a dish that is very thinly sliced, almost like shoestring, cold, raw potato. I don't even know what it has on it. I'm going to look that up. Maybe I can make it. I don't know. I don't think I could probably make it as good. But it's when you eat cold potato, cold rice, Those are insoluble fibers and they feed your colon. It's a super important piece of nutrition for your immune system, for your microbiome. Cold potato, cold rice. And this is a very particular raw potato dish, which I never had ever, but it's really delicious. But the Chinese actually eat food in the right order. And I think if we go back to, I don't know, maybe the 1940s or the 1950s, where there was always a jar of vinegar soaked vegetables in the center of the table, and there was always a side of like parsley or some sort of herb that was on your plate for digestion. And you always started with a salad, and there was an order. And that eating in order to me is one of the coolest hacks ever, because it does completely change how your microbiome reacts, how you feel. It changes your glucose level so you don't get those spikes. And many people are suffering with insulin resistance and they don't even know it. So
and for someone being a nutritionist, I was actually becoming insulin resistant last year just because of the poor choice of the portion control that I was going through, right? I ate good food. I just ate a lot of it. And I had to realize that I had to start changing and following a better macronutrient plan and eating what was important first to control insulin. And I have it all back to normal now. So I very much understand the importance of eating in order. And I'm really happy to say that, and I hope most of the women who are watching this really dive into that journal and try just a few things. Like, you don't have to do them all. Don't get overwhelmed by it. It took me from last year to this year to get to where I am. I'm down 21 pounds now. So yay. And I feel better. Like, the inflammation is gone. I notice if I don't drink enough water, like, I'll feel it in my joints. I'll feel sluggish the next day. So just like those tiny little swaps where you're choosing less seed oils, right? And putting in the not so inflammatory oils into your cooking, and using the right oils for cooking. Use an avocado oil in your pan versus an olive oil, because it doesn't have the same heat resistance, right? I mean, those little hacks are what are going to get you to the results that you want, like for longevity, for maintaining your muscle, to keep the inflammation down, to controlling your moods. Like, I don't know how many women must go through, they have to every month, like a low mood time. And can you correlate that back to, like, how did you eat the day before? How much water did you drink? Like, ask yourself those questions this month when you start to feel something. Like, if I eat something horrible, the first thing I'll notice is I get itchy ears. Like, oh yeah, like that's a sign for me to go, okay, like I've had something I shouldn't have. And then I'll go back and look. And a lot of it was like, I did enjoy sugary treats back before, and I don't have a palate for sugar anymore. I really don't. I really enjoy like you said, how you're experimenting in your kitchen. Just what more flavors can I come up with in our protein stacking hacks right now, just to make this plain Jane dish taste better, right? And so just experiment this month, ladies. You'll really feel a difference in 30 days if you just choose a few things or 2 things each week that you just want to try, and write it down and really talk about how you felt after doing these things. So,
that reminds me, there's a couple of things actually. One, I know some of the ladies last year said, oh, I do all these swaps already. And, there are women that are, quite far down the path of holistic eating. And so that is another reason why we really wanted to sort of put some emphasis around the importance of protein. I think we take that for granted a little bit, that everybody understands how much protein they should eat for strength training. The other little hack on protein is to eat protein right after you do your strength training workout, within that first 30 minutes. And that's a great time to have a protein shake. And I know everybody's going to say, where's the Curves protein shake? Just hold those questions, okay? I've done protein shakes in many countries. And so I guess what I want to say, though, is this is why we really want to talk a little bit more about protein this month. Some of you are already doing great swaps, and that's terrific. Maybe you can give us some ideas from other great swaps that we could do. But you're going to see in the downloadable document in the portal that it says, one daily swap. The main idea here is once you do a swap, stick with it. Stick with it this 30 days. Like if you're switching to sourdough, or you're switching to butter, or you're switching to a better nut butter or something like that. If you're doing those things, just stick with it the entire month. See if you can't develop a new habit there. So I wanted to mention that because it might seem a little confusing what we're downloading, but I have to say, I don't know even if you know this, Shannon, but there's 1,500 women in this group. And we had 1,500 women in the group last year too. And I think most of them actually have the book, which is really fantastic. But we have a lot of great downloadable documents here for you to stick up on your fridge, different things that just remind you of what you're doing. So for the in club, I want to emphasize that in club, we're talking about getting two healthy swaps in a week, or both. Okay, or both. You could lead with protein. And the main thing we mean about leading with protein is just start your day with a protein. I personally love grabbing cottage cheese and just putting whatever on it because I like cottage cheese. But I do like Greek yogurt too. So pick a really good Greek yogurt. It's just a totally different idea than cottage cheese. I don't know what it is about cottage cheese, but I just really like it. It's easy. It's super high in protein. So simple, quick to grab. But let's go back to something before we wrap up here. And I do kind of want to hear what you've got going on in your club for your first week, but there is a commitment card. And so when you're talking about, let's just do this, it's setting the intention, right? Like just make up your mind that this is your moment, this is your time, and you're going to make this plan for this 30 days for you. And that's really what it's about. But, we have a promise to myself. So we have a commitment card in here, which is really a moment for you to go, okay, I'm going to just take this time, try some new things, step outside my comfort zone, see how I feel, and just really check in.
And I would say the biggest one, since we're talking protein, is just that should be one of the biggest set intentions this month because of how important it is for women, especially when we get over that hump into our older ages. Like, we can't sustain muscle. It's constantly breaking down and rebuilding. You have to eat protein every day to sustain your muscle. That's what they call skinny fat, right? You need the protein. So you can be skinny and not show muscle, but without the protein, you're not going to actually develop the muscle for longevity, for your hormones, your enzymes that you need, your hair. It does so much in your body to keep you repaired, replenished, and healthy. So set the intention, at least for this month. How am I going to get about 25 to 30 grams of protein at every meal?
Yeah.
And then watch the changes.
I think it's also, first of all, you have another really great video on eggs, so I won't give that away. I love your video. But it's becoming familiar, right? You have to become familiar with what does that amount of protein actually look like. Become very familiar with that so that you can, even if you're out to eat, you can visualize that and okay, I'm getting enough. As a matter of fact, my husband, many years ago, we met over body fat, basically. He worked for a company that manufactured body composition scales. And, that's how we met. I was doing advertising, but the sell sheet that I was working on at the time was absolutely, I still remember it today, seeing a scan of someone's body and seeing the hidden fat around the organs being dangerous fat, visceral fat. It's this fat. And I think at the time, and we're going back many years now, but at the time, I was very much in the mindset that fat was what we could pinch. Fat was not, all this hidden fat. And, coming through the 80s, like I did, there was a lot of eating disorders, a lot. And skinny fat is exactly it. So someone who is suffering with an eating disorder is actually very likely to show a high concentration of fat. like obesity level fat, but no muscle, and clearly doesn't look obese. And so this is really, take time to get your personal coaching session done at your club. Most all clubs do have, one of our more comprehensive scales to give you a lot of great information. But this really is quite important when we're looking at healthy composition of muscle and fat. And so, yes, the building blocks of muscle are protein, and you have to have it. And if you don't eat it, you don't have it.
No. And one of the biggest things that I've seen is, I've seen new members come through the club, they get started and they can't recover. And some of them end up leaving early because they are inflamed, or they don't even have an injury from the workout. It's just that the workout itself brought out what was already there. And then they don't know how to deal with it. And it all comes down to that nutrition, that diet. And I know a lot of women are going to go, oh, I don't want to track this stuff. I just want to eat. And it's like, that's fine. But what if you just tracked for 2 weeks just so you could at least see your portion size? That way you get the visual down. And then watch those changes happen just by once you understand how big your plate can be or how big these Buddha bowls can be, right? And I think it's really important because recovery will take longer if you're not sustaining the right amount of protein, and your metabolism naturally will slow and strength will just become harder to maintain. So that's one of the biggest things I've noticed when people are coming through the club that are new. And there's probably about a 10% that leave because they just go through something in their body that they don't understand. And then we lose muscle more easily, ladies. So you gotta sustain that protein. You gotta get it up.
Nutrition has always been part of Curves. And in all of my years, and I taught the nutrition program at my clubs in Chicago, and I was so passionate about it that I taught 12 weeks at a time, took 2 weeks off, taught 12 weeks, and I did that for 6 years. And I did that because I really, really believe that you have to have a complementary program to our program. And we are truly an original biohacker in so many ways. As a matter of fact, our original Curves Complete, I think they call it, or Permanent Results Without Permanent Dieting is what I taught. It's a brilliant program. It's a little bit more complex. You definitely have to be switched on and paying attention to every little thing. It is great for raising metabolism. It is going to get your protein in. This is really what it's about. So when we look at Pure 30 and why I wrote it to begin with, is that there were many women in my club that no matter what I did, they just didn't have an interest to come to the nutrition program. And so for Pure 30, this is really about an opportunity for us to share what we know, and then also to just suggest some new ideas, stimulate some new ideas. You stimulate me. Hopefully I'm going to stimulate you. I think I've got some good ideas coming up. I love someone who raises my game a little bit. So you do that for me, Shannon. And
you do it right back for me too.
I always feel challenged, like, oh, that's a good idea. Okay, I've got one. But it's really about stepping into this easily. It's sort of like, stepping into a cold cenote, which I have been in 2 cenotes this week. So if you don't know about cenotes in Tulum, absolutely amazing. Not the same as your water coming out, because I wouldn't necessarily drink it, but it's great to soak in it. It is cold. I had to kind of go slow because it's hot here in Tulum, but it is not that hot. And these are very cold dipping pools that are absolutely beautiful, packed full of minerals. They're shockingly relaxing. And so good for your body. So if you can get to a natural spring in the United States or Australia or New Zealand, I'm sure, or Canada, and soak in one, please do. I'm down here in Tulum working on some very future things coming up, but I went to 2 cenotes and really, quite fabulous and relaxing. But I feel like I've lost my train of thought. Okay, but Pure 30. Pure 30 is really just taking an easy step in, like going into a cold cenote. Easy step into nutrition and sort of evaluating your own nutrition and journaling, I think, because our children are growing up in such a keyboard era, right? Learning recently about just the power of writing and how it lights up our entire brain, I think is reason enough to journal, but also really just becoming familiar with what you do. And one little other hack that I do want to throw out there, if you can take a walk after you have dinner, and you can just kind of decompress. It's so great for digestion. Just a 10-minute walk. We're going into some nice weather, and then for my Australian and New Zealand friends, it's a little bit cold. But it's really, really fantastic for digestion, and it will do a lot for you than to just eat and sit. For my hiker friend, Shannon.
Yes. But I didn't tell you that story. When hiking a mountain last year, I actually didn't bring enough electrolytes or water, and I had a hard time making it back on it was 2 hours in, 4-hour hike. Yeah, so that's why
actually you didn't tell me that story because
okay,
you literally went off grid and disappeared. And I was like, what happened to Shannon? As a matter of fact, you disappeared and we were supposed to do our drawing. And so I'm not blaming you. A little bit, not really, because I could have tracked you down, but I was respectful of the fact that you were out there really prioritizing yourself. And I thought, okay, we'll handle this. So actually, everyone, we are doing a drawing and you will see it in the next 24 hours. It's going to pop up and it is all the participants from last year winning a Vitamix. So get ready, ladies. I hope you're in the group again this year, but we're going to have a winner pop into our whole group here. But, I love that you took time for yourself, Shannon, and that is so important. I don't think women give themselves the room to do that very often. How did you survive without your electrolytes? Did you lick a rock? What did you do?
Well, I was climbing a hill that was pretty steep, and I actually had to stop every 10 feet and catch my breath. And I was just on the other side of that hill was like sailing home. I just had to get over that hill at the end. I was almost at the end, and I'm just like, why did you not bring enough water with electrolytes?
You know what I saw? I actually saw, those little containers, they slide open. They have lip gloss in them sometimes. I've seen these little containers that contain salt. So if you're out at a restaurant and you want to bring your own good salt, you've got it with you. So you needed one of those.
Oh, we need to make that an Amazon.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That on the Amazon.
I gotta look that up. So last year, no, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
Just another tool in the toolbox that I found handy that last week was the lemon squeezer. But I was going to send you the link, but they don't have it on Amazon anymore, so I can't. But it's a really heavy duty one, and you press down, and it's just, I like it.
I have one. It's yellow. I can't tell you exactly where it is, but I'm guessing in Australia. And I love all my kitchen tools because I love to cook. As a matter of fact, I brought these. I love these. Because if you cook a lot, you don't have to crack it. You just do it, and they do it themselves. I mean, I saw it at an Airbnb, and I just went crazy. I'm like, I didn't know these existed. I love them. Okay, so lots of fun tools coming up, and I'm sure you ladies out there have some great tools too. I do want to mention one thing. And last year, you and I did this, and this year, I haven't even talked to you about it, but a mindful habit. One mindful habit we want to take on. I took on sunsets last year, a little easier, or sunrises, a little easier because I was turned around on time and I could really go do that. This year, I want to take on sunsets. It's actually something I love to do. I absolutely love seeing a sunset. And so I'm going to do my best to share some sunsets with everybody from wherever I am. As a matter of fact, I might catch one tonight here in Tulum.
I like it. I don't know if I have the right setting here, but I've actually been doing lots of sunrises because I've been getting up early now. So I go out and I have my coffee in hand and sit out there in the mornings for just a slower morning for sure, just before I start my day and get right into things. And it's helped a ton. So,
do you drink black coffee?
I actually drink coffee with whey protein powder in it now. Yeah, that's my hack. And it's done wonders, because it completely got me off of cream and sugar. Mm-hmm. And I'll either shake the protein in a bit of water and then pour it in, or I'll just use a blender too, and you get a little bit of a foamy latte.
Nice.
Happening with your coffee.
I travel with these. They're right here because I'm traveling right now. And I used to get some from China. These are from Bali. And they are individual coffee sachets, not like a tea bag, but a pour over coffee. And most all of them are single origin. Many years ago, when I went off of dairy completely, the last thing I had to get rid of was cream in my coffee. I never had sugar. I just am more of a salty person than a sugary person. But I'm actually a very sugary, sweet person, but I like salty flavor. But anyhow, I travel with these because I really do like to have a nice black coffee in the morning, but I like one that has a lot of flavor to it. And so I do a pour over, and that's how I kind of start my
What exactly is it though?
Oh,
what is that?
I'll show you. Because I'm almost out of them. I'm getting ready to head back. So this particular coffee shop, as a matter of fact, for a little while there, I did have a little fun side business, and I had my own because I was so passionate about these little bags. But a lot of people do these in Japan. They do them in China. You do see them here, but probably not as much. Maybe I should get that little business going again because it was really cute. And I did find a really nice roaster to put them in, but I'll show you. So this one is a particular, this one, it says Bali. They got different names, but basically this is my favorite, is Habitat. Now, this one is the flavor of the coffee, because it is single origin, it's a specific bean, is sweet molasses, roasted peanuts, acidic, and vanilla. So this other one is sweet rock melon, peanut, jackfruit, dates, and biscuits. So when you get into coffee, and I have a girlfriend who is a coffee grader in China. She's actually the only female top coffee grader. And there's more notes in coffee than there is in wine. And so when you open one of these, so I'll open one and I'll show you. You open it, and then basically, and we do not have these in the Amazon store, so just don't go looking. I don't think you'll find it. So basically you take it like this. Okay. So this will be my coffee tomorrow, but it's basically like this. And when I'm doing my own coffee in Australia, I'll buy the empty bags and then I'll grind my own beans and I'll put it in there. There's something about, talk about setting an intention. You just basically take your coffee cup and you have to go slow. So I do have in Pure 30, actually, my coffee kettle that I use with the long gooseneck. I do have that in there. I think when I was just thinking of things, I thought, what are all the things I love? And I saw that. But basically what you do is you rip off the top like this. Okay, so it's very fresh. These all have little things to keep them fresh in here. So, there can be a lot of mold toxins in coffee. So this is very fresh. And then basically what you do is these little handles open up like this. And set it over your coffee cup. And then you do not pour boiling water, very important for coffee, very different to tea. You pour 90 degree, I think I've got that right, 92, 93 degree water. I might be saying it wrong because of the differences in Australia to here. I'll get that and put it under here, but it's not boiling. Okay, I can do it this way because I've done it in hotels. If it boils, pop the lid, turn it off, let it cool for 2 minutes, and now it's the right temperature, okay? So basically you pour it slowly over this, and what happens is the bag fills up, the water will fill to the top, you let it filter all the way through, then you fill it up again, then you fill it up again. And the key to these things is, this is not ginormous American coffees, okay? Because I sent a bunch of these to my friends and they're like, oh, it was very thin. I go, well, how big was your cup? So a regular size cup, like, not big cups, okay? And it makes a beautiful coffee, but the aroma is fabulous. And when I had my little fun coffee business on the side, my girlfriend in Colorado ordered them from me for like a year, and she loved them. She said it was just like my moment in the morning to be calm and, smell my coffee and take time. So I travel with them wherever I go because I don't know if I can get a good coffee on the road. And in particular, when I'm in a hotel, I like to get ready and drink my coffee. I don't want to have to get ready and then go get a coffee or go get a coffee before I get ready.
Yep.
We women have
totally understand. But I love that idea. And I like the idea because if you're saying there's different notes and different fragrances that you have going on there in those little sachets, that would be neat to try. I would try those.
My favorite coffee beans. So if there's any, I'm sure the Australians watching, there's going to be some real aficionados out there, and not to say no one else, but my real favorite coffee is Yirgacheffe from Ethiopia. I absolutely love that flavor. It's got a cherry flavor to it, kind of a fruit flavor. It's very light, and I really, really love it. So Single origin coffees are really amazing. You know, a lot of coffee we get anymore is a blend of something, and some blends are nice, but I do like the single origin. So anyhow, who knows? Maybe that'll show up in the world of curves. I hadn't really thought about it, but I do travel with them because it's an important part of my morning. I feel like I start my day right. So I love that you're throwing protein powder in, you know, to the point of stacking, ladies. Throw your protein powder in anywhere. If you want to throw it in your cottage cheese, throw it in your yogurt, you know, build. It's a great way to get more protein in.
Yes. And drink some water before you even have your coffee too.
Well, actually, as soon as you wake up in the morning, it is very good for you to do that and kind of get the whole system moving along. So Shannon, first of all, thank you so much for taking the time to do this month. Most people don't realize just how much stuff is going on behind the scenes to get all the content together. And, you know, please forgive us if there's any sort of little hiccups along the way. You know, it's a lot and we're adding a lot more to the program this year. But, you know, this is really a prelude to a much bigger program. And I haven't rolled that out yet because it is much bigger and much more sort of involved in information, but it is a passion. And I do think that the ladies that are our Curves members, and for all the ladies doing My Curves on demand and using that while they're on the go, and or if they don't have a club nearby, you know, you've made a very big commitment of time. To me, this is making a commitment of knowledge. And from knowledge, we all make better decisions. And that's really what it comes down to. It's just becoming more empowered with great information and realizing nutrition is a big part of living well, and it's a big part of thriving, but it is a huge piece of having success with a program like ours, which is a complete program and strength training focused. And so, you know, we want to see everyone have success, and to put those things together is super important. Oh, what are you doing in your club? What's your weekly prize this week?
Actually, it's just oils, and we're going to do the Curves water bottle too. So that's week 1. And I'm kind of rolling it out each week. So they don't know what 2, 3, and 4 is yet. So we just started with that. I think you need
to throw in a jug of your collected water, this this fountain of youth.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Maybe I could.
Yeah. Well, you go and do it. I mean, you went and did it, right? So it's a little bit of work involved there to go do that. So I think it'd be kind of cool, actually.
That is a good idea.
You know, or these are so great. These are really, really great.
I want to order some. I like that little hack of yours. Just press the button.
leave it to the Airbnb people. Actually, you don't press a button. This is just a sticker that says turn it upside down. I haven't peeled the sticker off. You just turn it over.
That's it.
That's it. There's no button.
Awesome.
It's literally just turn it over. All I can say is if you're cooking, wash them off every now and then. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, especially being white.
Yeah, that, and also, you know, we tend to have kind of messy hands when we're cooking, and then you're touching. I always worry about that at restaurants, but anyway, I digress. So ladies out there, thank you for joining in the program. Thanks for sticking with Shannon and I this long, if you stuck with us. I do have a few surprises I kind of want to roll out and see if, maybe we can give a pair of these salt and pepper shakers away this week. So please engage with our page. I know, I got an idea, because if they've listened this long, ladies, if you've listened this long, just say salt and pepper under this post, and you'll be automatically entered to win. I literally just came up with that. The whole team's probably going to yell at me, but I just think that'd be kind of fun. You know, say salt and pepper, and you'll be entered to win the salt and pepper shakers. And then you can show us how you use them, because they're really great. And there are rechargeable ones. These have batteries, so if you cook a lot, you're going to go through some batteries. But anyway, I hope everything's going great up there as you walk into the summer months in Canada, which have to be amazing. I know you all feel like there's just some sort of strange bug around here. That you all love winter too. I know Canadians love their winter, but you're going into your summer months, and I hope you're enjoying it.
So far, so good. It's been a little cool, but I don't care. Just warmer than what it has been is great, and out in the sun. That's all I care about. So yes.
I'll send you some pictures of some cenotes.
Yes.
It's only about 80 degrees here, so it's not quite hot enough to get into what is basically 75-degree water. does feel very cold actually when it's kind of the same temperature you are. But anyway, I'll send you some pictures. And
yeah, I want to see them.
Oh, it's amazing. It really is amazing. So Tulum is just a very special area of the Riviera Maya.
I hope one day I can come down there and visit.
Soon enough, Shannon, soon enough. It's all coming, right? So everybody out there, welcome to the group. I hope you have a great week. I hope you get going on some really great protein. I hope you watch our fun recipes. I know I had fun doing it. I'm actually going to cook 2 more things tonight. I've got some fun stuff that I've got ready to go. And Shannon and I will be seeing you on Mondays. And then really, it'll go faster than we think. And I'm on the road in between. So who knows what I'll be cooking or what sunset I will catch. But I'm going to wait for your sunrises there in Canada. And yeah, and thanks, Shannon, for bringing so much, really wealth of information to the group. I truly appreciate it. There's just so many amazing women inside of Curves, and so blessed to be doing this. So, ladies, grab your book and jump in, and we will see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.